Hey guys, welcome to Money Mindset and More. And today's quick question is around having disadvantage or advantage of running multiple business under one umbrella or running each and every business separately on their own. While there is no right and wrong answer for these questions, but probably I will go all the disadvantage and advantage of both the style, and then you can decide on your own what suits best for your business. I can share some of the tips which I have based upon my experience, and then you can utilize those inputs to decide what you want to do. Now, when it comes to multiple business under one umbrella, there are certain key advantages you have. The first one is shared resources. Each business require a lot of resources to run, whether it is admin job or operations job and things like that. So if you are running all businesses under one umbrella, your resource cost goes down. The second advantage is that your brand recognition will be higher because you are running multiple businesses under one single brand. So recognition over the years will increase under different businesses. Third advantage is that you will have a simplified management. Probably you might have one operating officer, one admin officer, one HR, and things like that. So you have a very simplified management. And the last advantage I would say is that you can do a lot of cross promotions across businesses. So let's say you have a rental business and home decor business. You can combine both and then cross promotion your services, vice versa your products. So that's an advantage as well. Some of the disadvantages are that your reputation might be at risk if any of your businesses will fail. So let's say you have four businesses under one umbrella and one business is not doing well on services front or quality front. That will impact the entire businesses because the audience sees that as a single business. So you have a reputation risk on that. Then you have a complexity in focusing what to do. If you have multiple businesses, each business requires a different kind of focus in the market. So, for example, if you have a services business, the kind of promotion, kind of activity which you do are totally different that if you have a product business. So the focus becomes very complex if you are doing under one single company. And the last one is which is very, I would say, serious concern as far as my experience is the financial risk. Any one single company going down will have a similar effect on other businesses because everything is combined. There is no way you can separate and, let's say, get investment or loan on that part of business because everything will be seen as a single entity. So that's a big risk for you. Now, when it comes to running each business as a single unit, then you have different sets of advantages as well as disadvantages. I will cover advantages first. The most important is that your risk will be isolated. If each and every business is running separately, then they are running their own risk in the market. So what if, let's say, if one business fails, other will not be impacted because of that. So that's called risk isolation. That will be very good if you are running each business as a separate entity. And then another one is you will have a focused branding. You will do, let's say you have a services business, it will be services based branding. If it is a product business, you will have a product based branding. And then similarly, you will have a supply chain and the distribution based upon the business, right? So that's another big advantage on running separate entities. And one more, which probably I would say the most important, is the financial separations. So if you have a separate entity for each business can have their own debt and equity in the market. Each business will have their expenses and revenue in the market. If some business is performing well, then you will get valuation more for those businesses rather than combining everything and get lower valuation for everything. So that way you can have a better leverage in the market when it comes to financial negotiations. Now there are disadvantages as well. The first one is that your cost will increase significantly because you will have the management for each and every separate units. You should have different operations, different HR, and things like that. So your overall cost increases. Your management also become complex. Your financial reporting also become complex because all those things will be not separate. Initially, you were filing, let's say, tax return for one entity only. Now, if you have two or three entities, then you have to file taxes for each and every entity. So your cost increases, your complexity increases. And you will also lose on overall shared brand equity. But you will gain on brand equity on individual brands. But if when you run each and every business separately, then some business might have better brand equity, other might have very low. So you will not be able to use the higher brand equity in the lower brand equity category. That will be another disadvantage you have. Overall, in my experience, if you are doing a similar kind of business, then you can actually combine and run as a single entity. Otherwise, it is always better to have separate business doing separate things. You might keep the brand name similar, but you can still run those separates. For example, classic example is Amazon. So they have Amazon.com and they have Whole Foods and they have Amazon Music, Kindle, and various other businesses. So they have kept the brand name Amazon for everything, but they keep changing other things based upon which business area they are operating in. So for example, AWS, which is a cloud unit of Amazon, everything on Amazon.com is developed on AWS. But those two are totally different business entities, and they run their own revenue and expenses and things like that. Overall, they roll up into Amazon as a parent company. And there are various other examples. For example, P&G, they run probably hundreds of brands. Each and every will have a separate entity, not entity, but separate business line, separate brands. And you might not know those brands that they are owned by P&G, but most of them will be probably owned. And any toothpaste, for example, will be owned by P&G. So, but they run as a separate businesses. So yeah, so these are the pros and cons. Let me know if you have any other question. Happy to answer. And please like, share, and subscribe and give your feedback. Thanks. Bye bye.